I saw this as a perfect opportunity to finally play Sleeping Dogs. Definitive Edition's coming out. Don't have time to review it, and it's always kind of weird to review. We didn't review Last of Us when that came out on PS4. Not planning on reviewing GTA 5. Going to cover the hell out of that game when it comes out on current-gen consoles. But I love taking old games, making them HD. Have no problem with that, especially games I never got around a chance to playing. Love open-world games, so love to see how well you can improve the draw distance and the frame rate and basically just overall performance of open world games. Like how many cars were on the road in the GTA 5 trailer for PS4 was mind blowing. So I'm down, and I've been playing Sleeping Dogs. You played through the original game. Mm-hmm. You have not played Definitive Edition. I didn't play the original. I'm maybe about 2 or 3 hours into this game, and it's fun. Good things or bad things? Where do you want to start?
I really like the game. There are definitely some problems with it, but overall, I had a strong impression of the game. So let's start with the good things.
The good things is combat. I mean, it's the best hand-to-hand combat, I think, in an open-world game ever. I can't think of, there's games like No More Heroes and stuff like that have a more, are a little more combat-heavy and are technically open-world, but not like a real open-world city simulator. They kind of slowly, move you into the combat and get more moves and stuff like that. But I'm at the point now where it's really fun, where I hit that like Shadow of Mordor level, where like I can really kind of juggle these guys around and really decide like how I want to mess these guys up.
Definitely.
One thing I love about the combat that a lot of games don't do, I wished Disney Infinity actually did this. I think that's a way that they can up the depth of their combat system.
Comparing Disney Infinity to Sleeping Dogs, wow.
Well, I just think about
just surprised.
The reason, actually, I will connect this mentally. I'm sorry if that was a tangent. I will connect it through the Incredible Hulk. There was a game called Hulk Ultimate Destruction that came out on Xbox and PS2, and the way the combat system worked is
that game is awesome.
At any time, in any of the combos that you had, doesn't matter what button you were pressing, whether it was a square button or triangle or circle or whatever button you decided to end on, you could just hold that. And then it would take whatever combat move he was just about to do, and he would charge it up and then do that. And so you could charge up like 40 different types of attacks because it depended on what he was doing in that combo, whether it was a slash or an uppercut or a foot stomp or whatever. And you can do that in this game, which is kind of fun if you realize, oh, nobody's attacking me right now, and I can just finish this guy off, and I've already punched him 3 times. On that 4th attack, I'm just going to hold down the button, he'll do a big sweeping roundhouse kick and take the guy out. And is really gratifying, looks really cool, feels really great. I'm not a super crazy combo guy when it comes to action games. I don't play a lot of fighting games, so I'm not somebody who's just going to like absolutely master every little intricacy of a combat system or like make sure I'm getting all my combos in or performing at the best of my ability.
You're missing out, man.
Well, no, totally. But to me, it's like good old Patrick Morales, who isn't with
Right.
GT anymore. He'd bring out his joystick and pad and just practice. And it's like, I don't know how much practicing I want to do at games. Again, when I don't play Dark Souls like an idiot, but. Again, a fun way you can add a little flavor. So again, Incredible Hulk is where I went there, and in the middle to me was Disney Infinity, which has upped its combat game in the last game, and I think that's a fun thing that they could add is just that extra little, oomph that you can get with just holding down one bit of a combo.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that the hand-to-hand combat feels really good. It definitely falls into that sort of Batman-esque like counter and everything. But something that you didn't touch on that I want to just bring up very quickly is something that reminds me of the Yakuza games. I don't know if this is where they took this from or not, but the finishers are so over-the-top brutal that I love doing them, and there are a lot of them. I feel like throughout the course of the game, I kept finding new ones. Like you shove a dude's head into a fan, and it's just this bloody mess. And you could say like maybe that's overdoing it, but for a game that's about like fighting thugs on the street, I think it really fit the vibe very well.
The vibe of this game is overdoing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it totally fits it. And I think it's smart for them to realize that we're not going to get up to the quality level of something like GTA. And so let's run with it. Let's make it not as zany as Saints Row, but like let's search and dig for those mechanics that a lot of these other open world games aren't doing. I like that you can, when you grapple a guy, you can run over to objects really quickly, because it would be frustrating if you would grab somebody and you can see the trash can over on the other side and you're kind of slowly dragging them over, and of course they'll wrestle out of your grasp like before you get a chance to do that. And I felt it was really easy to experiment, to find those locations highlighted in red, which you can slam somebody into to get over to them and take advantage of that. And it helps. It doesn't just take a guy out automatically. automatically.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's something you can't necessarily lean on, but you can have fun with. Anything you can do to shake up combat in the open world games.
Yeah, and speaking of shaking up, it doesn't. Like what you see at the beginning is not the end of the combat system. Like you can go to a dojo and you learn new moves that are actually very useful and let you take down, especially the bigger guys, a lot more efficiently. So I did appreciate that it does grow in a meaningful way as you go through the game.
And I didn't have a ton of time again to master it, which is again
Right.
something I should probably spend more time doing. On another note, love that it's in Hong Kong.
Yes.
It's not only a city that's not featured a lot in games, but it's a style of a city that you don't see a lot. And so if you enjoy open world games, and it's like, how many Chicagos or New Yorks or LAs, that I can see over and over and over again, it's nice to get a totally different vibe. And I feel that vibe comes through in, it's weird to stick to the left side of the street. I'm always like, going against traffic because I just default to the right. But just the buildings look different, the people sound different, just the culture and the language that they use. I have subtitles turned on just for Cantonese, and I like that sometimes they'll throw a subtitle up when only one word in there is different. They'll just
Right.
use some swear word or something in Cantonese, and they'll actually you can see it and pick that out. But just the culture in the game feels very rich. Obviously, it's very comical. Like you're, kind of like Yakuza. You're specifically dealing with the crime
Right.
aspect of the city, so it's hard to peg. I remember the mayor of Vegas was really pissed when some game was in Vegas one year. So
Right.
you don't want to peg Hong Kong as like, oh, don't go there because some crazy guy's going to drive you over with a bus. But again, it is kind of fun to live in that culture and to go to a city.
It
Generally
feels
go to more
different.
games.
I really like the character of Wei as well. I think the things that he deals with, this sort of like struggle between like helping out his friends who are involved in the gang and being true to the law, like that's kind of well-worn territory, but I think he's really well voiced, and I think his performance is strong throughout the whole thing, and I think in an open world game, that's especially important, so you don't just feel like this soulless murder machine. Like it's actually like a character that you can get attached to and care about. Like I wanted to see his journey through to the end.
And it's a game about power, and whether he becomes more powerful because he decides to help the police and get more skills that way and and level up and use those abilities, or whether he's going to exert his power by showing all the crime bosses that he's so much better than them, or subverting them, or going around their back, or shutting them down.
I have to know.
So if he does a cop mission and then a crime mission, it doesn't seem incongruous, where it's like, well, you were just buddy with the cops and now you're being evil. It's like, well, he wants more money, wants more power, he wants to be a better fighter, and so he's going to go wherever he needs to.
Did Brandon Trones, were you like goody two shoes cop, or were you a thug?
I'm always a goody two shoes. That's always kind of where I default to. Yeah, I found myself doing more cop stuff.
I don't look it, but I always go evil, man.
Yeah.
I just go evil.
You got an evil side. I'll buy it. Okay. So
bad things.
Not to run too long, I want to get into the bad things. The camera is kind of frustrating me because it seems like one of these like lock-on games where the camera always wants to do the opposite of what you want to do, or if you want to move the camera in a direction, it always feels the needs to like center back. And so the driving and the running seems a little bit stilted to me. Like it doesn't seem like kind of a free-flowing thing. Like if you're turning, I don't know, the physics of the cars just, they feel more like it needs to be centered on a specific track, and you don't necessarily have the freedom of movement like you would in GTA. A lot of people say the cars in GTA are kind of floaty, but I like the way the physics play in a game like that. And so, I feel like I can get better at the cars where, driving and handling and moving the camera when I'm making sharp turns and stuff. And I feel like there's a whole new, thing going on in that game that you have to get used to, as opposed to just naturally moving these cars around.
That's interesting, because I think the driving in Sleeping Dogs does feel different than any open world game I've played, and I think that's because of like the sort of arcade mechanics they do, where you have to like slam cars into things. They have to kind of tune it for that. But I got used to it. Like by the end of the game, I wasn't having any troubles. What I never really got used to is I do feel like the camera's kind of a pain in the ass during those chase sequences. I feel like there are times like somebody goes around a corner and I need to get around that corner and the camera's like not quite where I wanted it to be.
I do like that you don't automatically jump over stuff. I like that that's kind of like a skill test. You have to actually hit the jump button right when you get close to something. Because it makes sense. Like you would have to do that. Like you couldn't just be running and automatically jump over things. Like Jackie Chan. Like you'd have to be a little finesse involved. And so it's nice that they kind of represent that in games.
Totally agree. agree.
But yeah, there were a couple of chases where like I'd flip a cop car up on top of it, on its side, and like, hey, I won this thing. And it's like, no, you have to use our mechanic where you have to like let him back up and then get back on the road and then go follow him and smack into him. Like there were a lot of times I would just stop the car and wait for cop cars to come up along my side so I could smack them and knock them over and then keep driving.
Gotcha.
Whereas in a normal, in GTA 5, like when they added cones and the AI to all the cars, like it's nice that you can, there are lots of different options to get away from cars, where it seemed like Sleeping Dogs was like, use our cool little smashing mechanic that we put in there, and that's how you do that stuff. So fun that it has systems that a lot of open world games don't, and you can get better at, but it gets kind of frustrating when those systems get in the way of playing the game you'd want to. It's like, no, use our systems because that's how you're going to get past this, as opposed to being creative.
Definitely, but I think the times when it works, it's really fun, and it does feel different. I appreciate that Sleeping Dogs isn't just a GTA clone, that it really tries to incorporate these like sort of action mechanics into it.
And a fun game, tons of stuff to do, cockfighting.
Cockfighting. Man, that's so ridiculous. Some of the things they say during that.
But there's a lot, if you played Red Dead Redemption, you enjoyed The Strangers. There's a lot of fun missions like that, where ladies stop by the side of the road and you try to help her, and a guy comes up and mugs you and takes your money and runs away. Lots of busy things in the environment, lots of stuff to do. And again, I've only played like 3 hours, and I've tried to dabble in everything. And
I also think it's an excellent looking game.
Yeah,
I'm like it's a little old at this point, but I still like I booted it up last night on the PC. I caved and bought the definitive version on PC last night. I'm like, wow, this looks really good.
But that's very telling that you caved, that you enjoyed the original game so much that you can justify playing it again. That you're curious.
One final quick point though about that I think is important to bring up. So the definitive edition is $60 on consoles, $29.99 on Steam. Same game. And the thing is, Steam is having a sale right now. I got it for $15. So
and it has expansions. It's the definitive edition.
Right.
So it has
you get all of that stuff for $15. And so the people that don't have that option have to pay $60 on console. I think that's unfortunate. Like, I'm sure it will go on sale, but such a disparity is really surprising to me.
Something good to know. I think that's worth knowing. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
And one final thing, because it is the month of October, it looks like there's a cool zombie expansion. Like,
yes! Oh my God! I actually really like the zombie expansion. It's kung fu zombies. Yes, it's great.
So if you want an excuse to play this game now, it is October, is Halloween month.
Yeah.
So if you want another fun, spooky game to throw in the pile,
Yeah.
In the vein of Red Dead's Undead Nightmare, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So.
Yes, it actually has that same like sort of off-kilter zany vibe to it. Definitely.
So I'm definitely curious to check that out. Thank you for your opinions, Ben. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
With upgraded visuals, enhanced gameplay, and a massive array of content in a colossal definitive edition, it's time to experience Sleeping Dogs like never before.